Hey, what's going on, people? Basically, I'm gonna go ahead and show you what I'm doing. Hear the rooster back there screaming, one of them. He's gonna have his last day of screaming today. So we've been getting our eggs, more eggs than we need. Even all through winter, they never stopped laying. I think the fewest eggs we were getting was a couple of times we only got 7 in one day. Otherwise, we were getting anywhere from 8 to 10, and then when the younger ones got developed, which happened over winter, we're getting a dozen a day. We have 13 girls and 4 roosters. Roosters are starting to get out of hand. Some of the girls, they have bald spots on their heads and other things, and I notice a lot more crowing going on during the day. The roosters are starting to bow up and act dominant, and Rudy is still the dominant male. The girls prefer Rudy, but they're kind of being chased around and whatnot. And so we're going through more feed because we have more chickens, and we're getting more eggs than we really need. We threw an ad up on Craigslist. We're going to sell them for $2 a dozen with no cartons. But in this area, there's a lot of folks that either have their own chickens, or they get them from other places or whatever, or they just didn't see the ad. Either way, but we got no responses. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take 3 roosters out of the 4. We're keeping Rudy because he's the man. He is awesome. He's super good with the girls. He's big, he's strong, he's smart, and he's well mannered. So we're keeping him for his awesomeness, and we're getting rid of the other 3 roosters that we have right now. We actually offered to give 2 of them, but the folks were way down south, and it wasn't worth their time to drive up here to get the roosters. So that didn't work out for them, but we're still going to put them in the freezer for meat. It's spring, if you can tell by the ground around me. It's a beautiful, warm day. You see, I'm not even wearing a jacket. It's I don't know, it's like 40. It's freaking balmy out here, but it's nice. A little bit of a breeze, and perfect day to do this. So let me show you the setup, and I'm not going to show you what I'm doing because people will get all sad and cry over killing things, but it's a part of life. We all die. So I'll show you the setup I just did. It's temporary, but I think it's going to work well, and then eventually we plan on doing like a permanent summer kitchen that'll have all the things we need to do this a little more efficiently. But let's check it out. There it is. All right, so that's only part of it. We'll start at the beginning, which is right over here at this cone. I went ahead and just made this. I'm hoping it's big enough. But the cone and the bucket are for dispatching the bird. That's just a fancy way of saying killing it. And so you put the head down through there, the head sticks out the cone down like this, and then you cut it off, bloop, and you let it drip into the bucket, the blood. And anybody who knows anything about chickens, you've heard the statement, run around like a chicken with its head cut off. Chickens' bodies will run around because all the nerves and stuff after you cut their head off. So that'll drip, chicken will be inside the cone, a little bit of flopping inside there, but it keeps it contained. Keeps the blood contained, keeps it a little bit cleaner. And then I'll go from here, I'll take that chicken out of there, and we will come over here. I'm going to crank up the heat on this. Some of y'all might recognize that from in the house a while back. We removed it, and since I had it, I'm using it as a wind block. The majority of the wind is coming this direction, so the fire underneath there will heat this water up to approximately 140 degrees. I will dip the bird in for about 45 seconds, not maybe up to a minute about. That'll soften up all the fat at the base of the skin and feathers where they're held in. That'll allow me to pluck it, which will come out and down into this container here, where I'll pluck the bulk of the feathers right out and just let them fall in here. Once I've got the bulk of the feathers off, it'll come up onto the table here, and I'll do the remaining little detailed work of getting all the tiny fine feathers and drop them right down in there with the other feathers. Once that part is done, I'll then take it and dip one more time back into there just to allow some of those little tiny feathers that'll be stuck to it to come off, and then it'll go on the cutting board. And on the cutting board, I will chop it up, take the meat and bits and pieces that I want. I'm not going to do the whole bird and gut it. I'm just going to cut off the wings, the thighs, the legs, and the breasts, and I'm actually going to cut the meat off the bone right here, throw the meat in here, and then take the remaining portion of the carcass. And I don't have it out here, but I'm going to bring another bucket that's going to have the rest of the stuff off to the side. And then those with the meat in them will then be taken in the house. The meat will be rinsed and bagged, and that'll turn into our chicken meat that'll go in the freezer. So yesterday what I did, we'll look, I don't know if you can see it, but right back in there, that little A-frame that we had, some of y'all might recognize that, was the guinea house. I actually separated the 3 roosters yesterday. I got them trapped in there to allow the rest of the flock to kind of get used to the idea of them not being there, instead of just all of a sudden them being gone. I don't know if that matters. People say that the chickens will go into like a molt or depression or have problems if you take one out of the flock, especially if it's a rooster. The hens that were kind of like hooked up with that rooster will have a bad day and could stop laying eggs. I don't know how accurate that is, because I've also been told that they stop laying eggs during the winter time, and that didn't happen with ours. So we'll see. Most of what we're doing here is loosely based on information that we gathered online and reading and just looking at different things, and then put together and trial and error. So that's what we're doing, and we'll see how it works. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my business now with these birds, and I'll show you the final product once it's bagged. And I'll let you know exactly what I did as far as how many birds, because I'm still up in the air on how many of the hens I want to take out. But we're putting them to good use, and they will make a delicious meal down the road. So, all right, here we go.